host, Keith Adams Jr.,
I'm Jay Dillard.
And I'm Danielle Davis.
and today we'll be talking about new media and the changing role of sports information. How uh, Pretty much what we're going to be talking about in this podcast is how media has changed over time and the influence on media and how it influences athletes, um, as well as parasocial interactions and things of that nature. And then later on in our podcast, we'll also be bringing in our guest host, Cade Klubnik, quarterback for the Clemson Tigers. All right, guys. Well, so today I think that we should talk about different types of new media, such as YouTube, X, Instagram, and podcasts as we're doing right now. What do you guys think about new media and the different types of media, like our consumption of media? What do you guys think about those platforms?
Yeah, as a baseball player, like just kind of my perspective of it, X, which was Twitter at the time, but like early high school, for a lot of baseball players during COVID, X kind of Twitter X, whatever you want to call it, it kind of turned into like a recruiting platform for a lot of baseball players. And I remember in high school just kind of scrolling like watching other guys post like recruitment videos, that was your interaction with college coaches or whatever. And then as time has gone on, it's like you see like TikTok has evolved into something that's unreal. And it's like for now in the baseball world, you have like 12 and under like tournaments being like clips of that all over TikTok. And I feel like just platforms like that are growing. It's like growing the game of baseball in such a positive way, especially for people that like aren't really into baseball, younger kids that want to get into it. I feel like TikTok, um, Twitter, especially YouTube, like these accounts are able to go to these tournaments and give away like free slide mitts to these kids, and that blows up. And then these little kids start subscribing to this YouTube channel, TikTok page, and they're watching all of this information that gets put out. And it's things like that I really appreciate of the new world of media and kind of how that goes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jay, I agree with you because just scrolling on TikTok, I've my eyes have been open to so many new things. Like I had no idea who the Savannah Bananas were until they popped up on my feed one day. And personally, I've never really watched baseball, but I was like, this is pretty cool. This guy's on stilts, like throwing a pitch. So it was definitely cool to see. And I think especially with the recruiting process, I think it has a lot of positives, especially with getting clips out there, coaches to see. And I definitely don't think it was always like that. But I also think it adds a new pressure for especially younger athletes trying to go play college or get themselves seen that they are now having to compare themselves to, I think, sometimes better players on social media. And I think it could definitely take a mental toll at times. But on the flip side, like you said, it's a huge positive. I mean, I've learned so many new skills just from scrolling and seeing people do it, and I feel like that's super fun. And it allows also younger kids to start having these parasocial relationships with these athletes, like see the behind the see the behind the scenes of stuff and just everything like that. I think it's super beneficial.
Yeah, for sure. I like how you talked about like the comparison because a lot of the major platforms you see, especially like high school level, I mean, obviously in the professional and college level, but these platforms will really put out like the highest ranking players or like the best players of that sport. And I like how you kind of brought that up.
For sure. My opinion on different types of media, I think that social media nowadays is a better opportunity for people. And what I mean by that, it helps build people's platforms and showcase their talents through not having to go to like live events or, you know, some people might not be able to make it to football games. Now you have people watching, you know, the highlights on YouTube or Instagram or stuff like that, and you also have people on TikTok showing people how like DIYs and how to do stuff. And for me, I've used social media how to show me how to fix certain things, like on YouTube, like tutorials, which I wouldn't know how to do on my own. And I feel like it's also taken away. I feel like a negative part of social media has taken apart from me, like reading. I don't read as much as people would do without social media. I'm more into videos, and my my attention span is a little bit lower now that social media is growing. And I just feel like there's a lot of negatives and positives of new media, as to where back in the day people had to read everything to get their sort of like information, or TV.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So on to the next question. What is your guys' favorite type of media?
Yeah, I enjoy podcasts. Like the Pivot podcast. It's kind of like a way that you see athletes on a more personal level. And they have people come on their show of all different sports. I mean, mainly football. But like as a baseball player, they brought on Jazz Chisholm, and like I was always a fan of him just because of the way he played the game. But like being able to watch that podcast, you see more personal side of him. You learn new things about him, and then luckily enough, somehow he comes to Clemson because we partner with his brand, and then getting to meet him in person, it's like if it weren't for that podcast, like I would have never known what to expect from that guy. But like that podcast was able to give me like a sense of who he was as a person. And he was the exact same way in person as he was on that podcast. So it kind of makes it like my mind is like I'm watching Nick Saban on this podcast or Trevor Lawrence or whoever they have, and it's like you're getting an authentic version of who they are.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jay. I think podcasts are super beneficial. For me, like recently when I've been listening to podcasts, it's been more about like the mindset of certain athletes and kind of how not to be in a fixed mindset, but have a growth one. And they bring on like they just talk about studies and stuff and how you can like make your performance better. So I think it's super beneficial. And then I also watch like this YouTube channel called Behind the Crest, and it goes into the national team and how their training is off the field and what we don't see from an outsider's perspective. And I think that's been super cool to see is how much actually goes into it that we don't see. And it's very quick. We're very quick as fans sometimes to judge a performance or how someone's playing, but we don't actually see all the hours that are going in behind the scenes. And I feel like podcasts, YouTube channels, even TikTok is really opening our eyes to this.
I like that a lot.
For sure. Um, I'd say my favorite type of media is probably YouTube, because I'm on it so much. I probably have more hours of YouTube on my phone than I probably played football, if I'm being honest. Um, I just I have like a select like YouTube channels that I watch, like gamers or like football videos. People make uh videos of hundreds of people doing ones-on-ones for money and like cash prizes. Another example is like Mr. Beast. I watch him a lot, and he does like game shows now, and he's probably the most well-known YouTuber now. And I just feel like the influence that those people have, it gives a lot of people to look up to and see like where people come from. And I feel like it also builds like a lot of parasocial relationship with people watching those YouTubers. And I definitely have built a parasocial relationship with a lot of YouTubers growing up. And I just feel like you can connect well with people who are very famous by watching YouTube videos. But I also feel like the most genuine connection you can have with somebody in social media is like live streaming because it's authentic. It's not like it's not recorded. It's like a live reaction, and you get to like chat with them, and they can interact back to you if that makes sense. So I feel like in a parasocial relationship, that's the closest a lot of people can get to like, a famous person, like a live streamer, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh, but segue into the next question, as for us being athletes, what influence does social media add to the love of your sport?
Yeah. Feel like I feel like it's kind of like a two-parted answer. It's like it obviously like it increases the love for the sport. Like you see just watching now with reels on Instagram, TikTok clips, like you see so many more like behind the scenes of like for me, like I'm watching big leaguers like at batting practice and like interview clips on TikTok and stuff, and it's like how cool would it be to be there? But then like at the same time, like when you're in season, like if you're going through struggles and stuff, it's like, man, this is the last thing I want to see. Like I'm outside the baseball field, like I'm tired of seeing baseball. So I feel like it's a good thing, and it's like Danielle said, it's a good way to learn like what other great baseball players are doing. But at the same time, sometimes social media can be baseball is the last thing I want to see on it.
I feel that.
Yes, similar to Jay, I feel like sometimes being at the facility for probably too many hours, coming home and then scrolling on TikTok and seeing a soccer video, it almost makes you like not want to watch it, even if it's probably a great clip at the time. But I feel like there's a good balance of knowing when to step away from the game and just kind of live life and watch a Netflix show instead of looking at your sport. But I think there's a positive of it too, of like seeing what other people are doing and how they're having fun with it. And it kind of brings you back down to earth like, oh, it is just a sport at the end of the day and it is supposed to be fun. And with all the pressure we're under, I feel like sometimes that gets taken away. And I feel like social media can bring us back down to that, but it can also kind of blow it up in a way for us sometimes.
No doubt.
For sure. I feel like for me, I love watching football. Yeah, sometimes I do get tired of it, but for the most part, that's all I really watch. When I'm looking at social media, my whole feed's pretty much college football or just like funny videos. But I don't know like I feel like I get a lot of influence on social media just from like looking at athletes' lives on social media as well. Like Marshawn Lynch is one of my favorite football players of all time, and he's not like me wanting to be a football player, actor, and a song artist. He's influencing me by becoming an actor. He just got one of the top roles in a movie that just came out a couple days ago. I think it's called Love Hurts, and he's playing like a villain in the movie, which is pretty cool. And I don't know. I just feel like taking in that kind of media, like seeing that your favorite players are doing different things and just kind of getting a deeper dive into their life is one of the coolest things ever about social media. Now we'll transition over to our next segment. We'll be introducing our guest, Cade Klubnik, quarterback for the Clemson Tigers. A little background: Cade Klubnik is the quarterback of the Clemson Tigers. Um, he is our previous ACC championship MVP. Welcome to the show, Cade.
Thank you, Keith. Appreciate you, man.
Awesome, awesome. Well, let's go ahead and dive on in. Cade, so when did you start playing football, and what is your purpose?
I started playing when I was about like 4 years old. My purpose just always loved the game, loved everything about it. Just loved Um, all the hours that nobody sees and all the hard working hours that nobody sees and but yeah, love to run out in the field in front of 80,000 people too. Just love everything about it and love the grind, love the games. It's awesome.
That's right, man. I'm a big fan. I appreciate all the work
I'm a big
that
fan
you
of
do.
you, Keith.
Stop. I appreciate all the hours and all the work that you do behind closed doors that nobody sees. It really pays off, and I feel like the world sees your talents from all the stuff that you do when nobody's watching. But yeah, to our next question, I believe Jay has the next question.
Yeah, kind of going on off of that, being from Texas, growing up playing football, was there like a pressure of just like it's got to be football, or was that something that you kind of decided? And when you like,
Yeah.
what age did you decide that at?
No, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, I would say it was definitely more just me. Because definitely other sports like baseball and basketball are definitely still pretty popular. Um, but yeah, for me, I fell in love with it more than any of the other sports. And I always loved quarterback, so always stuck with that and grew up playing other sports growing up and stuff. But um, kind of just I realized a little bit I was a little bit better at throwing football than shooting a 3-pointer.
Yeah,
Because I can't shoot at all, so I kind of stuck with that one for sure.
for sure.
Oh, I have another question if you don't mind. Who would you say your game relates to the most from current NFL player or past?
Um, I don't know. I don't really like compare myself to other people a whole lot. Um, I guess maybe like Joe Burrow would probably be like one of the ones that I would probably think of.
A good one.
But yeah,
Okay.
So,
yeah.
relating to our topic that we discussed earlier, how has social media impacted your interactions with other people? And do you ever feel like someone might be trying to use you to get to you for your social media? And how has that impacted like trust with others?
I've definitely had people. Well, I think social media is great. I'm not like a huge like live and die, always like making sure my page is like perfect and all that. Like I just kind of throw on there what I want to throw on there and whatever. But in terms of people taking advantage, not really. I've only had like one person, like maybe like two or three, that like have asked to like do a collab post or stuff like that. And sometimes I do if I feel like that's what I want to be representing. Because yeah, but then sometimes it's like this person's just trying to use me or whatever. I just politely say, no. And I'm kind of a yes man kind of guy, so it's sometimes hard for me to say no to stuff. But
Okay. Okay. I feel that. That's good. That's good. Okay. So recently, you had a playoff run. Do you think that the hype of the playoff run impacted your mindset at all?
like going into the game,
Yes, like
nah,
from the
nah. I mean,
beginning of
it was just another game. Like you got to treat it like that. You got to just treat it like you know any other game. If your preparation for that week is any different in terms of the hours you're putting in and watching film or your attitude of practice or anything like that, um, then you're disrespecting the opponents from other games. So
Mhm.
kind of there might be a little bit more of an edge, but I think that in terms of my preparation and stuff, I think it looked the same as it did versus App State or whoever. So
For sure, for sure. And did you pay attention to social media a lot more or less during that week?
I'm like off of it like a ton during the season. Um, Now that week was definitely tough for me just because I was going home and everything, and
Hmm.
I was getting blown up every which way, and I just kind of had to put my phone away for a while, because all that was fun, but at the end of the day, you still got to go play games. So, um, just had to, yeah, I would say less than normal, but um, yeah, I mean, it was just tough because people are just kind of blowing it up and stuff. People back home. ask for tickets or whatever, and I'm like, I can't help you, man. I haven't seen you in 5 years, anyways.
I'm already knowing.
So
I'm already knowing, dude.
Yeah, so kind of going back to a little bit of what Danielle talked about, like, you're someone who is really true to yourself. You obviously you don't change who you are, regardless of how big the stage is. And in the NIL world, when it comes like to partnering with people and like posting about deals with brands or whoever it may be, do you kind of look at like who like what kind of people they are? Like, is that a big factor into who you decide to partner with?
yeah, I mean, my kind of mindset, and like I have an agency that helps me get deals and stuff. Like my kind of mindset with them that I've told them and what I do is kind of, first of all, like less is more. So like doing less deals, um, like fewer deals that are bigger deals instead of just a lot of little deals. Um, for kind of what the reason you said is I want to be you know specific in the people that I work with, that I want, I'm not only representing them, but they're also representing me. So, I'm not going to go um, meet with or, collab with anybody that's just going to go against, who I feel like I am or the values that I stand for and stuff. So, yeah, that definitely factors in and stuff. And I want to, if, yeah, in NIL, I want to get deals with people that I feel like I'm going to benefit from, but they're also going to be able to benefit from me. And, um, they're always a very well known and respected, company. So,
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Good question.
Other than football, what would you say is your favorite sports media to consume?
probably golf. I, not necessarily, I don't like watch golf, but I've been playing a lot more in the last probably 3 years. And I'll just probably, it's on my Instagram a lot more and stuff. But and then basketball. I love watching basketball. It's super fun. So
You talk about golf. You playing some rounds with Evan Thompson. That's his name, right? Evan.
yeah, I played with Evan
Yeah.
last week. He's a good dude.
So he's always on my TikTok.
Yeah.
Is does he hit the ball as far and as hard as advertised?
Oh yeah, dude. We were on this one hole, 360 out, and he stuck it 5 feet from the hole on a par four. It was
That's
crazy.
nuts.
That's
His
crazy.
his
Yeah.
journey's
No, he's really
crazy.
good. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
I've
No, he's a great
yeah.
dude. He's awesome. Like we met through social media, but like we've played like 2 or 3 times now, and we keep up every week. And like he's a really good dude. Like we're pretty good friends now. He's awesome. He's awesome.
That's cool.
Word. Okay. Now here's a religion question. How do you correlate football with religion, and how does it like? Because I see that you always have paint like or the cross on your like face for your face paint. Do you put your religion a lot into football? Do you like mix that like together a lot, or how do you take that?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, um, is they were never separate in the first place. Um, I think that for me, I'm just a believer, and that's something that I am in everything that I do. And I'm not picking and choosing when I'm a Christian. That's something that I am all the time. So, it's something that I believe in, and something that's changed my life. And, you know, that's who I am. And I wouldn't say football is who I am. It's just something that I do. But I would say, being a believer in Jesus is definitely who I am. And playing football is just something that I do. So, yeah.
I love that answer.
Yeah, kind of getting back on the sports media topic. Like at baseball, we'll after weekends or after midweeks, we'll all be in the facility. And I don't know if you know, but there's a YouTube channel called Wheels, and they post like a bunch of highlights of like baseball games over the weekend, like crazy games or whatever. And it's something that a lot of our teammates like doing. Is there anything that like the football guys watch? Like, do y'all get together and watch highlights, or is that just something that, like, whatever whatever happens in the college football world happens, and y'all are focused on y'all.
Yeah, I think there's no organized thing that we do. I mean, I think that, if something crazy happens, we'll probably all see it by the next day, just in the midst of social media and everything. And, you know, but I wouldn't say there's no organized thing or anything. But yeah, we're mostly just focused on us. And if big plays happen in college football, we'll definitely see it because, we love the game and stuff. So
Yeah, for sure.
Last question here. How would you say your relationship is with your teammates? Because I know football, you guys have a pretty big team. Playing soccer, we only have like 24 people we have to get to know.
yeah.
So how would you say that you manage that, like trying to get to know everyone, but also being close with the people that surround you while you're playing?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say having probably like 3 to 5 guys. For me, like having 3 to 5 guys that like I'm really, really close with and that like I can just talk about life with. Um, that don't care if I quit football today and we would still be best friends and stuff. Having those is really tight. But then as a leader and trying to build those relationships with teammates is, I think on such a big team is I'm an offensive guy, so I gotta be tight with my guys. So going out to lunch and going out to dinner with O line and the receivers and running backs and tight ends and on occasional things, and or we'll all I'll go take them out to eat and stuff, and I'm taking the OL and the receivers and tight ends and stuff out to dinner. I don't think have I taken y'all out to dinner yet, Keith?
Nope. Nope.
All right, we'll do that soon. But just doing stuff like that, and like, so I mean, we spend hours on hours and hours every single week, but just trying to spend quality time together, just hanging out outside the facility, and that's always big. But then also, we're eating every day together at the facility, so just trying to sit with new people and see where people come from and see what their backgrounds are, because with 135 people, you're not going to be as close as you are with, the same 2 or 3 people that you might live with, but you can still get to know them and be able to sit down and have a conversation with them and, be able to build a good relationship because y'all are going to war together and, you got to be able to go through hard times together and love on each other. And it's hard to love on people if you don't know them. So just trying to know people and, get to know them on a really personal level.
That's a
I
great
appreciate.
answer.
I love that answer. Well, Cade, I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come talk to us on this podcast. I appreciate all of you coming out. Again, thank you, Cade. Thank you, Jay and Danielle. Until next time.